Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here.
In Meghan's case, it seems to me she's absolutely determined to force feed the narrative. And damn it, they're going to accept it and keep going. And people are just too smart.
Bad news in Harry and Meghan world, their show has been canceled. Season 3 of With Love, Meghan has been canceled by Netflix.
Devastating moment for Prince Harry's reputation and credibility, as he argues with a judge while in the dock, contradicts himself, appears to fib about using the pseudonym Mr. Mischief.
Royal biographer Tom Bower just dropped a claim that reportedly had Meghan Markle fuming, and the timing couldn't be more chaotic. This all happened while Prince Harry was in a London courtroom, getting emotional and going back and forth with a judge. Not exactly a quiet day. But here's the real twist. Netflix reportedly pulled the plug on Meghan's cooking show, and Bower says he knows why it unraveled so fast.
Well, absolutely, but don't even believe that there were 5 options. What you really saw were Harry's and Meghan's fantasy narrative, which they call the truth. What Meghan never really understood, probably not even now, is that when she was cheered as a working royal, it wasn't because she was Meghan Markle, it was because she represented British royalty and all the values of the Queen and all the tradition and 1,000 years of history. So people were cheering not just the person, but also the institution.
Quick heads up, if you like breakdowns like this, hit subscribe and drop a like. It keeps the updates coming without the royal level stress. Now, Bower claims this isn't about bad ratings. He says it's something deeper. And when he explained it, people definitely paid attention. In an interview, Bower, author of Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, didn't hold back. He said, it turns out she's not any kind of talent. Yeah, not exactly subtle. He also says he spent years researching, speaking to over 80 people who knew or worked with Meghan. According to him, Netflix may have started having doubts just 6 months into that $100 million deal. From his point of view, the problem started when the content didn't click with viewers. The show, With Love, Meghan, was meant to be her big lifestyle moment, but Bower says the key issue was authenticity. He argues audiences can spot what feels off right away, and in his take, that's where things didn't land.
Lost at the trial court level on this push to make the British royal family pay for his security when he goes to the UK.
Once they realize that myself, my wife, and our kids are happier outside of the institution, please just look at the fact, look at the risks, look at the threat, look at the impact that if anything was to happen to me, my wife, or my father's grandchildren, look where the responsibility lies.
What a manipulation. My father's grandchildren. They're gonna and it will be his fault.
It's gaslighting on a grand scale.
She was trying to come off as warm, relatable, someone who loves cooking and bringing people together. But according to critics, that image just didn't click. Viewers felt like something was missing. Tom Bower really pushed that point. He questioned the whole family-first image and brought up something that got people talking fast. While Meghan was filming her Netflix show, her father, Thomas Markle, was going through a serious health situation, and Bower claims she didn't visit or reach out. That raised a lot of eyebrows. Because if your brand is built on love and family, people expect consistency. Bower didn't sugarcoat it either. He basically pointed out the disconnect. How do you promote family values while being distant from your own dad? That question alone sparked a lot of debate. Then come the numbers, and they didn't help. With Love, Meghan reportedly ranked 1,217 on Netflix in the second half of 2025. That's deep in the list, like you need serious scrolling to even find it.
It's almost like Harry 2.0 is Brooklyn Beckham. Have you seen any of this action where...
Yes, I'm into it.
I'm so
very
into it because doesn't talk to his father, fall out with the...
He was trying to humiliate her by clearly suggesting she came onto him. There was a little incestual dance.
Oof.
The show pulled around 2 million views in 4 months, which is surprisingly low considering her global recognition. Some smaller creators are pulling higher numbers without that level of backing. Even the holiday special only reached about 2.4 million views, landing closer to the 1,500 range. Not exactly standout territory. Bauer says Netflix kept trying to make things work because they were aiming for something bigger, possibly major exclusives tied to Princess Diana. But from his perspective, the results just didn't match the expectations. People were expecting a tell-all, something bold, maybe even messy, royal secrets, behind-the-scenes drama, the kind of content that makes headlines for weeks. But according to Tom Bauer, that's not what showed up. Instead, he says viewers got scenes of Meghan arranging flowers and carefully packing pretzels into bags. Not exactly edge-of-your-seat material. People came for fireworks and got a quiet afternoon craft session.
He holds on to these terrible, unhappy moments with Meghan, who he says, she's absolute misery, but that's not true either. And she wasn't around in the late 1990s. I mean, it's a sort of extraordinary way of behaving.
Even season 2 of her show was fake. It was not a season 2, it was a lie.
Bauer also claimed Netflix executives were surprised by how she came across off camera. He said she didn't seem spontaneous or naturally funny, and that everything felt planned and rehearsed, which, in his view, translated directly onto the screen.
And here's the kicker. He says Netflix gave her everything. Big budget, experienced producers, full creative control. Most people would dream of that setup. But Bauer's take is that even with all those advantages, the final product still didn't connect with audiences. Then he went a step further. According to Bauer, the core issue isn't just talent or opportunity, it's attitude. He believes she's so focused on herself that it makes it harder to connect with everyday viewers, which is a problem when you're trying to build a lifestyle brand people can relate to. He compared that to other big names. Martha Stewart built her brand from the ground up with a clear, consistent voice. Gwyneth Paltrow, whether people agree with her or not, still comes across as herself. But Bauer argues Meghan doesn't give that same energy. In his words, it feels more like she's playing a role than being genuine. In today's audiences, they notice that quickly.
He said, no, you're either in the royal family or not in the royal family.
April 2025, she said it's the happiest she's ever been. She's having a wonderful time, she can't believe it, and she's happy and grateful. Now, what sort of idiot would say that in court when he talks to the person herself has given something completely different?
He also claimed that some people who worked on the show described her as difficult to work with, saying she would redo scenes multiple times and focus heavily on small details, especially how she appeared on camera. Lighting, angles, wardrobe, according to Tom Bauer, all of that got top priority, but the actual content, not so much. He shared one story that really paints the picture. Bauer claims Meghan was extremely focused on her appearance, down to making sure her hair looked perfect in every single shot, which sounds great until you remember this was supposed to be a cooking show, not a fashion campaign. Because let's be real, actual cooks tie their hair back, roll up their sleeves, and get into it. Things get messy, that's part of the charm. But Bauer says Meghan treated it more like a magazine shoot than a kitchen, and in his view, that's exactly where things started to fall apart. It didn't feel natural, from the rented mansion used as a home to stage details like beehives in the background, even the guest appearances. He claims it all came across a bit too polished, a bit too forced.
Wherever she is, whether it's at Kalkner or in Colombia or in Nigeria or wherever, she's always, her publicist will reveal that she's wearing one of Diana's pieces of jewelry.
Prince Harry, his heart seems to have softened, or there's been some sort of evolution. So I do think you're right that a lot of us were kind of caught off guard by the Prince Andrew decision, because we had grown accustomed to cuddly Charles, Grandpa Charles, with the grandkids in his lap. And when I saw the news, I thought, I don't know if I'll ever see anything like this again in my lifetime, but maybe I will because of Prince.
Then comes the twist. Bauer says Meghan was reportedly furious when Netflix pulled the plug. She believed the show had serious potential, awards, recognition, the whole lifestyle empire moment. Instead, the audience reaction told a very different story. Not explosive, not exciting, just hard to stay engaged with. That's a tough gap to ignore. And while all of this was unfolding, Prince Harry was back in London, also making headlines, but for a completely different reason. He was in court, testifying in his case against the Daily Mail, linked to alleged phone hacking between 2001 and 2013, years before Meghan was even in his life. But the courtroom didn't stay calm for long. Reports say Harry ended up clashing with the judge, not once, not twice, but 3 times during the hearing. Not exactly the quiet, composed approach you'd expect in that setting. Picture this, a prince in court going back and forth with a judge like it's a debate club. At one point, the judge had to step in and basically say, "Stop interrupting and just answer the questions," not something you expect to hear directed at royalty.
And even the publishers couldn't quite believe some of the things which I discovered. And one of the big things at that time was sensitivity reading. There was a great fear that she would play the race card.
I was doing an interview to offer them a platform to tell their story about why they left. And that was my #1 intention, was just clarity on why did you leave? And so some of the things that were revealed in that interview came as a surprise to me. And those surprises are now referred to as bombs.
It got serious enough that the judge even pointed out you were doing what lots of litigants do. You tend to argue. You don't have to bear the burden of arguing the case today. In other words, calm down, you're not the lawyer here. But Harry, according to reports, couldn't quite hold it together. During his testimony, his voice reportedly cracked and he became visibly emotional, saying, "They have made my wife's life an absolute misery." It was a raw moment, no doubt, but it left the courtroom split. Here's where things take a turn. The case itself focused on alleged events from 2001 to 2013, years before Meghan was even in his life. Technically, the lawsuit had nothing to do with her. Yet, he kept bringing her up. Tom Bauer has pointed to this before, suggesting that Harry often centers everything around Meghan, even in situations that are supposed to be about his own legal battles. According to that view, he keeps looping back to her, like the two topics can't be separated.
And the contrast didn't go unnoticed. While Harry was in London dealing with all this, Meghan wasn't there. She reportedly stayed in California, thousands of miles away, and was active on social media, posting smiling photos during the same time frame. Bauer claims moments like this say a lot. He's even argued that Meghan has a strong influence over Harry, and scenes like the courtroom testimony only added more fuel to that conversation. And then there's the irony. Harry stood there criticizing the media for invading his privacy, while also being the same person who released a 400-page memoir, Spare, packed with deeply personal stories, private conversations, and family details. It's that contrast that really has people talking. That's where the contradiction really hits. Tom Bauer has been pointing this out for a while, and his argument is pretty straightforward. You can't open the door to your private life on Netflix, sit down for a major Oprah interview, release a best-selling memoir, and then act shocked when the media keeps paying attention. That's not how it works. And right now, the backlash is loud. Online reactions have been piling up, and people aren't exactly holding back. One comment with over 1,400 likes said, if Harry wanted privacy, he wouldn't have released Spare. Another wrote, "Court is for facts, not feelings." That one pulled in hundreds of likes too. The overall mood? It's shifted. A lot of viewers are saying they're tired of the same narrative. They feel like the sympathy angle isn't landing the way it used to, and the constant complaints aren't connecting anymore. Then there's the privacy argument. People are pointing out that Harry has already shared a lot. Details about family members, past relationships, private moments. So now asking for total privacy after putting all that out there feels to many like a hard sell. And when it comes to Meghan's Netflix show, the reactions are even sharper. Some viewers didn't just criticize it, they openly celebrated its cancellation. The comments have been blunt. One person wrote, "She's made our lives a misery listening to all her behavior and hypocrisy." Another said, "Finally, Netflix found its spine." That one spread fast. According to Bauer, this was always going to happen. He's argued that eventually the public would lose interest if the message didn't evolve. And from his perspective, that moment might be here. He even suggested that once audiences felt there was nothing new being offered, they'd simply move on. Between the reported Netflix issues and the courtroom headlines, the conversation around Harry and Meghan does seem to be changing. Not as much outrage, more skepticism.
At this point, the vibe isn't even anger, it's more like a collective shrug. Tom Bauer summed it up with a line that really sticks. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And in his view, that's exactly where things have landed. People aren't outraged anymore, they're just not paying attention. He also thinks Netflix might quietly step away from the couple within the next year. That big first look deal that once sounded impressive, Bauer sees it as a slow exit strategy. One commentator even called it slow ghosting, which honestly fits a little too well. Then there's the money side, and this is where Bauer raises eyebrows again. He claims things are getting tight. Reports suggest around $38 million has already gone into projects that didn't really take off. Add in a massive mortgage, a high-end lifestyle, and suddenly the pressure starts to build. According to Bauer, Meghan's recent moves reflect that shift. He says she's gone back to her old PR firm, Sunshine Sachs, trying to reset her image. There are also claims she's been working to reconnect with big names in Hollywood, reportedly even attempting to get closer to Jennifer Aniston through mutual connections. And then, the bookmarks. Yes, bookmarks that say, "Fell asleep here." Bauer points to moves like that as signs of someone trying a lot of ideas at once, hoping one finally sticks. So far, he suggests, nothing has really landed the way it was expected to. On top of that, he doesn't sound optimistic about Harry's legal case either. Bauer argues it's not built on strong enough ground and says Harry's courtroom behavior, interrupting, getting emotional, pushing back at the judge, hasn't helped his position. Put it all together, and in Bauer's view, things are starting to look uncertain on multiple fronts. And here's where the stakes get real. If Harry ends up losing the case, Bauer warns he could be hit with massive legal fees, possibly in the tens of millions of pounds. That's not just a bad day in court, that's the kind of loss that stings financially and publicly. Bauer's been warning about this trajectory for a while. He says Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life, expecting bigger deals, bigger fame, and total freedom in the US. But, according to him, they underestimated what they were leaving behind. The royal institution didn't just come with titles, it came with protection, influence, and a built-in global platform. Once they walked away, that safety net disappeared. And building a worldwide brand from scratch, a lot harder than it sounds. Now, Bauer's take is that reality is starting to set in. The early buzz isn't as strong, projects aren't hitting the same, and attention is shifting elsewhere. The spotlight hasn't vanished, but it's not shining quite as bright as it once did. So what do you make of all this? Is this just a rough patch, or are we watching things really start to unravel? And do you think the public has truly moved on, or is there still a comeback moment waiting? I genuinely want to hear your take, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and sticking with me through this story. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Crown L for more updates like this. And trust me, you'll want to check out the next video. There's a lot more coming that you don't want to miss. Catch you in the next one.